Have you ever been totally sure about something, only to find out you, and maybe thousands of others, were totally wrong? Welcome to the mind-blowing world of the Mandela Effect. Named after the iconic South African leader, Nelson Mandela, this curious phenomenon happens when a large group of people remember something one way, only to discover they've got it all wrong. And trust me, we've got some real head-scratchers for you. From New Zealand's mistaken location to wonky memories when it comes to what we love to eat and watch on screen, I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 insane Mandela Effect examples that'll blow your mind. 25. The Great Bear Name Debate. Remember the beloved children's series, The Berenstain Bears? Well, you might recall it as the Berenstein Bears with an E, right? Well, brace yourself. It's always been Berenstain, as confirmed by the Library of Congress. The discrepancy has sparked lots of debate, with many fans swearing by the Stein spelling. It also got a lot stranger when old memorabilia surfaced showing the name Berenstain on the book covers. Since many people believe the Mandela Effect is caused by time travelers messing with our past, that or we live in a parallel universe, I'll leave it to you to decide if this is only a case of mistaken identity. 24. The turkey leg that never was. If you've ever pictured Henry VIII gnawing on a turkey leg, well, you're not alone. Many remember a famous painting of the English king seated at a table proudly holding a turkey leg. But here's the kicker. That painting doesn't exist. The actual artwork shows Henry with a pair of leather gloves and the string of a scabbard. The turkey leg image seems to be a collective mirage fueled by a mix of media depictions and the Mandela Effect. 23. Peanut Butter Pandemonium. The world of delicious spreads has its own fair share of mystery thanks to the Mandela Effect. You might remember a popular peanut butter brand as Jiffy, but here's the twist. It's always been Jif. Launched in 1958 after a rebrand from Big Top Peanut Butter, Jif has remained consistent in its name, and yet a lot of peanut butter enthusiasts swear they remember it differently. They're probably getting confused with Jiffy Pop. That's my take on it. 22. Is it Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? If you've ever wondered whether the classic cartoon featuring Bugs Bunny and his pals was really called Looney Tunes with two O's, you're not alone. Fans of this iconic series have been debating the name for years. The confusion likely arises because Looney Tunes with two O's just sounds like it should fit better with a cartoon about wacky characters. But despite what your memory might tell you, it's always been Tunes. The mix-up probably comes from Warner Brothers drawing inspiration from Disney's Silly Symphonies in the 1920s, which were all about musical shorts. So, Tunes with the U was a nod to the musical theme of Warner Brothers' own animated series, not a typo. Still having that debate with my mom. We had a dog named Petunia. When we shortened her name to Toons, I went with Tunes because Petunia, and she always spelled it Toons. I'm like, that makes literally no sense, Mom. Let me know in the comments below. Who's right, my mom or me? That'll go over well. 21. Pikachu's black-tipped tail. Pikachu, the beloved yellow electric Pokemon, has been a pop culture icon since its debut. But did you know that some fans are convinced that Pikachu's tail used to have a black or red tip? According to these fans, Pikachu's tail wasn't always the solid yellow we see today. They remember seeing a distinct stripe or black shadow on the tail. So, what's the deal? Well, it turns out the confusion might come from early versions of the game, Pokemon Red and Blue, where Pikachu's tail did have a black shadow in some sprites. And while some recent depictions, like in Detective Pikachu, might show a black stripe or shadow, the classic Pikachu design has always been just yellow. Hey guys, just jumping in here real quick to tell you some exciting news. You know how you love watching our videos for amazing facts? Well, what if I told you that you could also have 500 amazing facts in the palm of your hand? That's right, we wrote a book. This one right here. What the facts are you talking about? And you can order it right now and have List 25 right in your library or on your coffee table or wherever it is you keep your books. It's available right now on Amazon, so click the link in the description and grab yourself and friends and family a copy today. 20. Mickey Mouse's Suspenders. Mickey Mouse, Disney's cheerful mascot, has been a staple of animation since his debut. But why do so many people remember Mickey sporting red shorts with suspenders? Despite what your memory might insist, Mickey Mouse has never actually worn red shorts with suspenders in any official appearance. From his first animation to modern-day renditions, Mickey's classic look has always featured red shorts without the added accessory of suspenders. It's probably the 2 buttons. People think that's where suspenders go, so their brain just probably fills in the rest. 19. Would you like some Captain Crunch or Captain Crunch? The debate over Captain Crunch's name is a tasty example of the Mandela Effect in action. While many cereal fans remember the breakfast mascot as Captain Crunch, his official name has always been Captain Crunch. But the confusion doesn't stop at the name. Captain Crunch's uniform has its own set of mysteries. Traditionally, American naval officers wear bars on their sleeves to indicate rank. 1 for ensigns, 2 for lieutenants, and 3 for commanders. However, Captain Crunch's outfit has never quite matched up with these ranks, sporting a mix of bars over the years. So, whether you remember him as Captain Crunch or Captain Crunch, it turns out that the character's uniform, at least, has been proven inconsistent. 18. What the heck is a Froot Loop? If I've got you confused, the official name has been Froot Loops since 1963. Here's the backstory. Kellogg's first introduced the cereal as Froot Loops spelled the correct way in 1959, complete with 3 flavors and Toucan Sam. However, since the cereal had no actual fruit, Kellogg's got sued and had to change the name. They relaunched it as Froot Loops with the 2 O's in 1963, and that's stuck ever since. But here's where it gets interesting. Some fans remember the name swapping back and forth. One Reddit user even said, "Wasn't it Froot Loops a while ago, and now it's Froot Loops again?" Seems like others are in the same boat. So, what's your take? Froot Loops or Froot Loops? It's great without the spelling. 17. Mr. Monopoly's monocle. Does the Monopoly Man sport a monocle or not? Many people could swear he does, but the truth is, he never has. Rich Uncle Pennybags, the iconic face of Monopoly, is instantly recognizable with his top hat, mustache, and pinstripe suit. But despite the strong visual memory many people have of him wearing a monocle, it's simply not true. This case of the Mandela Effect has left many scratching their heads. So if you remember him sporting that signature monocle, rest assured, you're not the only one feeling a bit frazzled by the mix-up. I think this one is people confusing Mr. Peanut. I think they're taking his monocle. 16. Where on earth did New Zealand go? Think you've got geography down? Well, you might be in for a surprise. A surprising number of people remembered New Zealand being in a completely different place on the map. Sure, we know that New Zealand is southeast of Australia, but some people swear it used to be northeast, or even in a totally different location. And it's not just New Zealand. People have different memories of where Australia is too. Some theories suggest that alternate dimensions or time streams might explain this mix-up. The idea is that we might have merged realities with another timeline where maps and borders were different. So if your sense of direction seems a little off, well, you're not alone. However, the notion that our reality could have subtly shifted is pretty mind-bending. Or just admit you're bad at geography. No need to bring in time-altering realities. You failed geography. That's all there is to it. 15. Oscar Meyer or Oscar Mayer. Here's one that's left plenty of people scratching their heads. Is it Oscar Meyer or Oscar Mayer? As it turns out, the hot dogs and lunch meats brand has always been Oscar Mayer with an A, but plenty of folks remember it as Meyer with an E. What really messes with people is the jingle. You know the one. My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. There has been much frustration over the mix-up since people remember to be singing along to M-E-Y-E-R and not M-A-Y-E-R. 14. Sinbad never played a genie. Do you remember Shazam, that movie in which comedian Sinbad played a genie? Well, if you do, you should take a good, long, hard look at yourself because that movie never existed. I'm serious. Despite being remembered by thousands of people, Sinbad never starred as a wish-granting genie in the 90s. There was a movie called Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal as a genie, but Shazam simply isn't real. And yet, some people remember Shazam in great detail, including the plot about 2 kids summoning a genie and even a spectacular pool party finale. It's okay if you think you've seen it, but don't bother looking it up on IMDb. Sinbad's genie role is just a trick of memory, and maybe a touch of Mandela magic. 13. The hyphen in Kit Kat never existed. If you swear that there was a hyphen between Kit and Kat, you're not alone. Plenty of candy lovers distinctly remember the famous chocolate bar as Kit Kat, but guess what? There's no official record of that hyphen ever existing. Despite this, some fans recall the dash as clearly as if they'd seen it yesterday. One Reddit user even shared how they once noticed the hyphen had mysteriously vanished, only to later realize it was never there to begin with. So if your memory is insisting that Kit Kat used to have a hyphen, I hate to break it to you, Kit Kat has always been hyphen-free. Though Spider-Man, don't forget the hyphen. 12. Do you call it Cheez-It or Cheez-Itz? Let's settle this once and for all. The cheesy cracker you love to snack on has always been called Cheez-It. Singular. Not Cheez-Itz with an S, and definitely not Cheez-Itz with a Z, or Z for my UK people, and Canada. Now, rest assured that if you've been calling it the latter your whole life, you're not alone. A bunch of people distinctly remember them as Cheez-Itz, and even swear that that's what it says on the box. But go right now, take a look at any packaging you can find, and you'll see it's always been Cheez-It. Why do so many of us add that extra S or Z if we're really cool? Well, maybe because we never just eat one. 11. A galaxy-sized Mandela Effect. Okay, let's move on to one of the biggest Mandela effects in the movie world, and it comes from a galaxy far, far away. If you've ever quoted, "Luke, I am your father," while wielding an imaginary lightsaber, yeah, you've been saying it wrong this whole time. Star Wars, one of the most iconic movie franchises of all time, has captivated audiences since 1977, and The Empire Strikes Back gave us what is often considered the most famous movie line ever. But the actual line Darth Vader delivers? It's not, "Luke, I am your father," it's simply, "No, I am your father." It's a small change, but one that throws off countless fans. And who I assume were saying that line into a fan, because everyone did that. Luke, They got it wrong while speaking into a fan. That's always... I don't have a fan with me or else I'd do it. 10. Did Tom Cruise wear shades or not? The classic risky business scene. Tom Cruise sliding across the floor to Bob Seger's old-time rock and roll in nothing but socks, a shirt, and shades? Well, that's where the Mandela Effect kicks in. In countless parodies, from The Nanny to Scrubs, people mimic this iconic moment, often adding sunglasses to the mix. But here's the kicker. Tom Cruise didn't wear sunglasses during that legendary dance. In the scene, he sports a white button-down shirt, socks, and no shades in sight. 9. Lucy's misquoted Splainin moment. This might be a bit before your time if you were born, after the 50s, but in the classic sitcom I Love Lucy, fans often recall Ricky Ricardo exasperatedly saying, "Lucy, you've got some splainin' to do." But here's the catch. Ricky never actually says those exact words. While he does use phrases like "splain that if you can" or simply "Lucy, splain," the iconic quote you remember is definitely a bit off. 8. Mirror, mirror on the wall. We all grew up with the famous line from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? But guess what? That iconic line is a bit off. The real line is actually magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all. It's one of those slip-ups that's stuck in our heads despite the truth. The next time you pop in your old Snow White DVD, or, watch it on streaming, listen closely. You might be surprised at how different it sounds from what you remember. 7. Curious George's missing tail. We all remember Curious George, the lovable monkey from our childhood swinging through his adventures and with a tail hanging between his legs. Or so we thought. The truth is, Curious George never had a tail. Despite what many of us recall from those classic episodes and books, George is a tailless monkey. He's been swinging through his escapades without that extra appendage all along. 6. That never happened. When it comes to creepy movies, The Silence of the Lambs is in a league of its own. Jodie Foster's portrayal of FBI trainee Clarice Starling and Anthony Hopkins as the eerie Hannibal Lecter left a lasting impact on moviegoers everywhere. The unsettling dynamic between Clarice and Lecter gave us one of the most widely quoted lines in movie history. Or so we thought. Many people remember Lecter's spine-chilling greeting, "Hello, Clarice." It's referenced everywhere from memes to horror spoofs, but guess what? Yeah, it never happened. In reality, Hannibal simply says, "Good morning," when they first meet. 5. Tinkerbell never wrote the Disney logo. Many Disney fans swear they remember Tinkerbell magically spelling out the word Disney with her wand in the iconic opening sequence of Disney films. She'd zip around, waving her wand, and then dot the I with a magical spark. However, as familiar as this scene might feel, the fans are wrong. While Tinkerbell did appear in some Disney intros, especially in the 90s, she was never shown writing out the logo itself. Her role typically involved flying across the screen and sprinkling fairy dust over the Disney castle, but she never took on the job of spelling out Disney with her wand. It's just a classic case of our collective memory mixing up magical moments. But she definitely did go ting, and then that's when the transition would happen. Usually on top of the castle. 4. Play it again, Sam. Casablanca is packed with memorable lines, but one of the most famous is also one that never actually appeared in the film. Despite popular belief, Humphrey Bogart's character Rick never says, "Play it again, Sam." What actually happens is that Ingrid Bergman's character Ilsa requests a song As Time Goes By with the words, "Play it, Sam, play as time goes by." Later in the movie, Rick simply tells Sam, "You played it for her, you can play it for me." So how did Play It Again, Sam become so widely misquoted? Classic Mandela Effect, people, enforced by Woody Allen's 1972 film Play It Again, Sam, which helps cement the misquote in pop culture. 3. The curious case of "Beam me up, Scotty." The phrase "Beam me up, Scotty" is synonymous with Star Trek and is as iconic as any of the show's taglines. However, this famous line is never actually said in Star Trek, at least not in that exact form. While Captain Kirk often communicates with the starship engineer Scotty to be transported back to the Enterprise, the specific line, "Beam me up, Scotty," never appears in the original series nor films. The closest the show gets is variations like "Scotty, beam me up," or "Beam us up, Scotty," which were used in different Star Trek media. Over time, though, the phrase "Beam me up, Scotty" became so ingrained in pop culture that it took on a life of its own, forever associated with Captain Kirk and his space-traveling adventures. Oh my god, that's from redshirtswillalwaysdie.com. What a site name. 2. The chocolatey truth about Forrest Gump's famous line. Who can forget the heartwarming wisdom Forrest Gump's mama passed on to him? The line, "Life is a box of chocolates," has been quoted everywhere, from casual conversations to motivational speeches. It's become an instantly recognizable pop culture gem. However, there is a twist in this sweet piece of wisdom. In the movie, when Forrest sits on the park bench and shares this famous quote, he actually says, "Life was like a box of chocolates." The past tense might seem like a small detail, but it changes the context. Forrest is recalling advice his mother gave him, reflecting on how unpredictable life can be. The misquote likely snowballed because it just felt so fitting in the present tense, and that's how it stuck in our collective memory. 1. Mona Lisa's smile. Okay, let's be honest here. In Da Vinci's famous portrait of the Mona Lisa, do you remember her smiling or not? You might be surprised, but thousands of people are convinced she wasn't smiling at all. Even though it's one of the most recognizable paintings ever, some people swear that Mona Lisa has a blank, almost neutral expression, which brings me back to that alternate universe theory. It's crazy to think such an iconic painting could cause so much debate. I mean, her mysterious smile has been analyzed and talked about for centuries, right? Fun fact, her name wasn't always Mona Lisa. It was actually Mona Lisa, which translates to "my lady," and a simple spelling error that changed it. But this whole smile or no smile thing, well, that's got people thinking way beyond typos. Maybe her smile means that we're in the right timeline after all. And that's a wrap. If today's mind-bending examples left you craving more, check out our previous video on 25 incredible discoveries that science can't explain. In that video, I dove into the mysteries of cows always facing north or south while they're eating, the bizarre goop on the new island near Tonga, and those enigmatic blobs deep inside the Earth. Curious? Well, click the link right here, and let's keep going. Also, let me know your favorite Mandela effect. Down below, comments. I believe in you. Also click. Dude, all of that.